If you can stay in the community, receive your treatment in the community, with your family around you, your usual friends, then this all adds to the speed of recovery from the illness. Come and stand where it's convenient for you.
Sorry, Doctor.
I'll come and stand where you'd like me to
All
stand.
right. It's very good of you. I do apologize. Is it possible for you to, oops. Sorry. Rather than standing there, would it be possible for you to sort of come and get something out of your car
No.
and then go back in?
I've been advised to stand and let you take a photograph and then go away. And I'm sure you've had enough time to take a decent
Have you
photograph.
been is it possible for you just to
Thank
say
you.
anything
We're
at
going
all?
back into surgery to do my surgery.
But you have said you have
Thank
nothing to hide, sir.
Once again, it's Murder and Mayhem Monday. Welcome back. My name is Franklin James, the serial author, and I hope you all have a mayhem-less week. Now, today we'll be examining the life and crimes of Harold Frederick Shipman, a doctor from the UK, a well-known healer turned serial killer who was dubbed Dr. Death. In the small towns of northern England, he was known as Dr. Shipman, a man trusted by hundreds, welcomed into many homes, and was relied upon in the most vulnerable moments. But behind the soft spoken demeanor and white coat was a killer, the most prolific serial killer in British history. Born on January 14th, 1946, in Nottingham, England, Harold Frederick Shipman grew up in a working class family. His mother Vera was known to be controlling, doting, and emotionally intense, especially with Harold, because he was her favorite. So one could speculate that Harold's early environment laid the groundwork for a personality dominated by control and perfectionism. His mother exerted influence over his choices and his emotions, and it's crucial to understand how early attachment shapes identity, particularly in children who crave order and predictability. Now, at the age of 17, Harold Shipman watched his mother slowly die from lung cancer. She received morphine treatments at home, and he reportedly noted that she appeared peaceful and serene after each dose. And it's not uncommon for formative trauma to imprint itself. In Shipman's case, the correlation between morphine and relief, death and control, became almost romanticized. He witnessed firsthand the quiet power of euthanasia and perhaps internalized the godlike role of deciding who lives and who dies. Now, Harold Shipman graduated from Leeds School of Medicine in 1970. He married young and soon built a reputation as a competent and dedicated GP. But in 1975, he was caught forging prescriptions for pethidine, a powerful painkiller for his own use. As a result, he was briefly sent to rehab, but his career resumed with little interruption. So we have a brief fall from grace, followed by redemption. This incident reflects narcissistic traits. Harold Shipman believed himself to be above the rules. His addiction wasn't just to drugs, it was to control, superiority, and invulnerability. I imagine those are just a few reasons why he even chose the medical profession. Now, by the 1990s, Harold Shipman was practicing in Hyde, Greater Manchester, and his patients loved him. The elderly women in particular saw him as trustworthy and compassionate. But soon, they began to die, quietly, in their homes, and under his care. So his victim selection wasn't random. He targeted elderly women, patients that resembled his mother. They were surrogates, symbolic stand ins, and these were calculated, organized murders carried out with methodical precision. Harold Shipman didn't kill in a frenzy, he killed to feel powerful. He injected his victims with lethal doses of diamorphine, heroin, and he often falsified their medical records afterward, claiming they died from natural causes. He even signed their death certificates himself, believing that he was in control and had a godlike superiority, classifying him as an organized, power oriented killer. because he had access to vulnerable people, his patients, so he was able to control the crime scenes and manipulate documentation. For Shipman, this wasn't madness. This was cold, deliberate pathology rooted in grandiosity. Now, between 1975 and 1998, it's estimated Harold Shipman killed between 215 and 250 people. And his downfall was when he forged the will of one of his victims, leaving her estate to him. And as a result, the victim's daughter was suspicious, and that curiosity unraveled everything. Shipman's arrogance led to his downfall, which seems to be a common trait with most serial killers. In many cases, the need for control escalates, and thus their egos. It wasn't enough for Harold Shipman to kill. He had to benefit materially, and that mistake was a crack in his armor. Now, in 2000, Harold Shipman was convicted of 15 murders and sentenced to life in prison. And 4 years later, on January 13th, one day before his 58th birthday, he was found dead in his cell, suicide by hanging. And the act of committing suicide for someone like Harold Shipman may seem like weakness, but in his mind, it was his final assertion of control. No one would tell him when to die. He would choose, just like he had chosen for so many others. Harold Shipman didn't fit the profile of a killer. He wore a stethoscope, not a ski mask. He didn't stalk his victims at night. He knocked on their doors in broad daylight. But behind that practiced smile was a man obsessed with control, a man corrupted by power, and a man completely devoid of empathy. In the end, the most terrifying monsters are the ones who blend in. And Harold Shipman, he was a predator in plain sight. And he reminds us that evil doesn't always look like a threat. Sometimes it can look like help. But I do want to thank you all for tuning in. And I do ask that you stab that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about Dr. Death. Share this video out there, hit that bell for notifications, and if possible, avoid mayhem.